Hello. Hey, welcome to today. So today I want to talk about two things that are semi-related, but also we'll see. I want to talk about what we're doing to try to manage our diabetes better. Not trying, it's working. Hey Pinto. Hi. And then this journey that we started about a month ago. I mean, we've been thinking about the journey for much longer, but we actually made steps a little over a month ago now. Probably by the title, you already know what the journey is, because I don't know what I'm going to title this, but I'll probably title it something. We have started a fertility journey. My dog is drinking water in the background. They love to drink water right when I'm recording, I've noticed. I think it's because I come out in the living room and they're like, ooh, water's in the living room. Let's explore. Yay. Dogs. Love the dogs. We were diagnosed with diabetes last summer, so it's almost been a year now. It was last July. And it was a big surprise because we didn't realize, I don't know. We didn't know any of the signs to look for diabetes, so we didn't notice anything. But in hindsight, there were signs like frequent fungal infections and craving a lot of sugar, eating a lot of sugar. And we had been diagnosed in our 20s with insulin resistance. And so that's a precursor to getting diabetes, or an indication that you could develop it if you're not careful. And when we were dealing with our eating disorder last springtime, in 2024, we just kind of felt like eating anything we could eat was better than eating nothing, which is true. Eating is better than not eating. And with the way that our eating disorder is ARFID, avoidant restrictive food intake disorder, and it was kind of combined with binge eating because we wouldn't eat all day and then we would eat a crap ton at night to make up for not eating enough. And in the eating disorder program, they weren't trying to prevent diabetes, they're trying to make people eat. So anyways, we don't really need to go into all of this, I guess. But anyways, we have diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and we were able to, last fall, get it more under control. But then when we started doing our internship for school and being more busy and working, it just kind of fell apart, and our diet was really hard to manage for a while. And so our diabetes got worse again. Not as bad as it was when we were first diagnosed. Our A1C was 14 when we first got diagnosed. Which is ridiculous. And there was one day when they took our blood sugar and it was 500, and we were like, whoa, that's also ridiculous. So with taking metformin and taking a long-acting insulin, we were able to get our A1C down a lot lower. And for those of you who don't know, your A1C, your hemoglobin A1C, is a marker in your blood that can measure how well the levels of your blood sugar over the last several months. So it's a good way to track how managed your diabetes is over a long period of time, rather than checking your blood sugar daily is also really important. But the A1C is used as a guide to track how well you're managing your blood sugar over time. So anyways, we were having a really hard time with our diet over the last several months, half a year, I don't know. It's been a while, since last fall. We've also been wanting to find a way to reduce how many psychiatric medications we're on, which that does tie in with fertility. Diabetes does as well. So we had been learning about the medical ketogenic diet and watching people on YouTube who were using it to help manage and heal their mental illnesses. And then we'd also done research about how it can be very helpful for reversing type 2 diabetes. And so we were really intrigued and wanting to learn more and maybe do it, but we were like not wanting to do it by ourselves because it's hard. You don't just like start eating a lot of fat and call it good. Like you have to do it correctly, you need to be measuring all your macros and making sure you're only eating a certain amount of carbs a day and making sure you're eating enough protein and enough fat to sustain your body. You need a lot of support to do it. You can't just like start it it's not really advised to start it by yourself and you need medical support. We found a keto coach who runs a program that supports people in attaining medical keto and especially to deal with brain fog and other mental illnesses that impact how your brain works, and can help people get off some or all of their medications because you're healing your brain through changing the fuel source. It's a lot more complex than that, but I don't know how to explain it all. We started this program a couple months ago. It's been a big learning curve, and some of our medical team was concerned that because we have an eating disorder that it would make the eating disorder worse. And we were like, yeah, we hear that. And if it does, we'll stop. But we have found that it's actually made it better. Like it's made it easier to deal with. And then it's caused a huge reduction in our blood sugar numbers. And so our diabetes is much better managed now. I don't know what our new A1C will be. We're going to get that tested in July. But because our blood sugars are so much lower, it should be a lot better. And we're learning like how to cook for ourselves differently and what kind of foods to eat differently. And I'm sure we'll talk more about that journey in future videos because it's a big journey. But we just wanted to like kind of update you and let you know that that's what we've been doing for the purpose of reducing meds and managing diabetes. And we have been able to reduce some of our meds, and we're in the process of reducing more. It's also getting very warm in here. I had to turn the air conditioning off because it's very loud and I needed to record. So hopefully this doesn't take too much longer. We have a hard time just like spilling our thoughts. It takes like effort to think through it carefully and say what we want to say. We're the kind of people that often like to think about what we say and then say it. It's hard to just like word vomit for us. We've been watching some of our old YouTube videos just because it's kind of fun to remember like who we were and what we were like back then because we were different. I think we were more in practice back then about making videos and just talking to the camera and making things up as we went along. And we're not in practice about doing that anymore. And we're also just like different now. We're quieter. We're more accepting of our introversion. And so, yeah, we're just different. And that's okay. You grow and change as you age, and it's good and it's important. And who you are in your 20s is not the same person you'll be in your late 30s. That's okay. It's okay to grow and change. So along that line, children, fertility, pregnancy. When we were really young, thought that we had to have children because we were raised in a conservative Christian community, and the purpose of women was to get married, make babies, support your husband, support your kids, give all of your identity over to that. And so it took a long time to unlearn that and realize that we had other options and we could be a different kind of person. And then also learning about ourselves, like all the abuse we went through and how wounded we were from all of that and how much healing we needed, and that we were in no place to be a parent for a very long time. And then we were really sick with Lyme disease, and that additionally, like, we were too sick to really think about being a parent, even though we were co-parenting with our partner for a while in California when we lived there. So we had experience with doing that, but there was no way we could have done that on our own at that time. We were more of a support person than like a main parent kind of person for a long time. But in like the last couple years, as our life has gotten a lot more stable, as we've gotten more stable and healed a lot and grown a lot, we've been more and more preoccupied with really wanting to have one child by ourselves, be a solo parent, and just raise one child. And we've gone back and forth about adoption or foster care or getting pregnant and carrying a pregnancy and giving birth. All of those are good options. I don't know that an adoption agency would ever pick us because of our mental health history, our history of suicidal ideation and suicide attempts, and our addiction history. Like, we're complex. So we haven't, like, it's not ruled out, but I don't think we would try for doing that for a few more years until we are, like, have more history of stability to show. But we are going to be 36 and a half in August. And so we realized if we're going to try for having our own baby, getting pregnant and giving birth, then our time is running out because it gets harder and harder to get pregnant and have a safe pregnancy as you age. And after 35, it starts to go downhill a lot. So we were like, okay, it's now or never. We're going to have to just start this. And we didn't feel like pushed into it. We more felt just like opened up to it and like, it's time. We are at that place in life where we need to start preparing for that and looking for resources and getting connected with a fertility provider. So we started that process. We have met with a fertility provider. We have talked about different options. We're going to be trying with IUI, which is intrauterine insemination. It's like the only one we could afford. There's no way we could afford IVF. It's just never going to happen. So we're really hoping that this route works because it's what we can do. We've like started doing like blood tests and genetic tests to see how all of those things are working out and if we have any concerns that we need to be aware of. And part of the reason for reducing meds is that some of the psych meds we're on are not good to be on when you're pregnant. And so we need to get off of those before we can pursue pregnancy. So our hope is that like this fall or winter, we can start trying to get pregnant. We'll have to see how things go. Our fertility provider advised us that we probably have until we're about like 38 to try. And then after that point, we would have to consider a different way to make a family. So that's kind of where we landed of like, okay, this is it. We're going to try. We're going to do everything we can. And if it doesn't work by the time we're 38, then we will move on to looking into adoption or foster care and seeing if that is a route we can do. Some of the reasons that we want to have a baby or like have a kid of our own is because there's a lot that we've learned in life through all of our experiences and through being the identities that we are that we really want to share with a child and have the opportunity to raise a child in a way that supports developing in a way that you can embrace who you are from a really early age. And we want to provide safety and security to a kid. And we want to be able to raise a kid who's really curious. And we have this ideal of like not being dependent on screens for a long time or like not using screens in the early part of our kid's life, but to try to use other methods of parenting. No shade to people who need screens to parent or who have used them. It's fine. Do what you want to do. This is just our own value system. We also have like really struggled not having family of our own where like we don't have contact with any of our siblings. We have contact with our mom, but that's like the only blood family we have contact with is just with our mom. Again, we don't necessarily need our kid to be related to us through blood. We do need that sense of this is our kid. Like we are family. We are connected forever. We get to make that family with them and build those values with them and traditions and adventures. And we also feel like we would be a really good parent and that we just have a lot to offer that we would be really sad to miss out on that opportunity and that chance to welcome that kind of a person into our life and love them forever, intensely. And we really don't want to be a parent with another person. We don't want to co-parent with someone. I think because we've seen how complicated it is to co-parent with someone you're not married to or partnered with, and taking the risk of having a kid with someone you're partnered with and then the partnership not working out. It just sounds awful. It's not something we're interested in. We, of course, like want to involve our partner and our mom and like people we know in our kid's life and in like all of those elements of raising a kid. But we really want to be the one who is responsible. And I guess that like we can make the parenting decisions we want to make and we don't have to work them out with someone else. We can make them as we want to make them. Of course, there's going to be mistakes. There's going to be things that we do wrong. That's normal for every parent. No matter what you do, you mess up and that's okay. We just really, really value ourselves being the parent and having one kid and that being the dynamic. It's really important to us. So yeah, that's like that's where we're at with that. We thought about like not telling you, our YouTube channel, our community here, until like we were waiting until we were like actually pregnant or actually like for sure making it happen. But then we realized that we have never seen there probably are people on YouTube, we just haven't explored enough, but like it's really hard to find trans people talking about the process of becoming a parent and showing you along the journey or talking you through the journey as you go. And that there's a lot of stigma about trans masc people doing this journey. We don't totally consider ourselves trans masc, but other people do because we don't have tits and we have a beard and we take testosterone. Well, we did. That's another thing we had to do. We had to stop testosterone. It's only been a week of no testosterone, so it's not terrible yet. We'll see what happens. But we really we realized how valuable and important it could be to bring you on this journey, show you along the way how it happens and what happens and how we react to things. And because there's so little record of that available on the internet for people to see and to follow along with. And so we really want to make that available. And then we also realized that we want a record of it for ourselves because it's a really special journey to go on. And having video of what it's like the whole way through is really important to us. So yeah, we want to document it both for you and for us and see where the journey goes. There's every possibility that we won't be able to get pregnant or that something will happen that gets in the way, but we won't know that unless it happens. So we're just going to keep going as far as we can. And we're really hoping that we get to make a baby and be a parent. So yeah, we will keep sharing with you as we go along. Our last day of testosterone was last Friday. So it was like May 30th, I think. And it can take anywhere from 1 to 6 months for your cycle to come back. If it comes back at all, there's a chance that it doesn't come back. And we've been on testosterone for 10 years. Again, it's all trial and seeing what works and hoping for the best. There's no way to predict what's going to happen. we just have to try. We're really hoping that being off testosterone doesn't totally fuck us up. I don't think it will. I just think that it's going to be a journey, whatever it is. So thank you for being on the journey with us. And if there's any questions you have or comments you have, feel free to leave them below. We'll try and answer them in our next video if you have questions. That is everything, I think. I don't have, my mind has emptied of everything I wanted to share. Believe yourselves, believe in yourselves, keep living, and we're going to see you soon.